Tara 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 ketsi Ketaya te wheratika O tātou e O tātou e Tara 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 tara
I have been, even though I'm on holiday, I have been doing interviews and submissions mahi the whole time I've been here, because we only have 6 days left to get as many submissions as we possibly can get in on the regulatory standards bill. So even though we're having fun and we're having a cocoa and we're doing all of the holiday things in between that, we're doing interviews like this. So just wanted to give you a big mihi and thank you so much for having us on this morning. He pairawa. So we just got an update yesterday, and there, as of yesterday, there had been 76,000 submissions made on this bill, which is an amazing number of submissions, especially given how poorly the consultation process for this bill was run by the Crown. And the Waitangi Tribunal had already made a finding that the Crown breached te tiriti in the consultation process by not going out and speaking with te iwi Māori about this bill and about the very serious impacts that it will have on te iwi Māori. So in that context, for us to be sitting at 76,000 submissions as of yesterday is an amazing achievement. And it's a testament to how many of our people have been getting out there, doing the mahi. We've been running workshops non-stop, online and in person. Our people are getting out to kapahaka events, sports games with their clipboards, real grassroots mahi to get those submissions in. So I just want to send a massive mihi out to our regulatory standards bill workshop trainers crew, which Tina Ngata and I started right at the beginning of the process, and we trained over 400 people to give these workshops and get out there and help our people to understand this bill and how badly it will affect all of us, not just te iwi Māori. Nobody's getting paid. There are no bots. There are no billionaire backers, propping up organisations, which is what we're up against with the ACT Party. So this is literally just an organic group of people who have come together because they understand how badly this will affect our tamariki, our mokopuna, our kaumātua, our kuia, and everybody's just out there because they believe in the kaupapa, and they understand that if we don't do this and we don't stop David Seymour and the ACT Party from putting their ideology in place above te tiriti, above the treaty principles, the whole country will change. So all of us are out there doing this for aroha and for manakitanga and for naungatanga. So those are our secret weapons, though. And the comments that David Seymour made a couple of weeks ago about the submissions being made by bots were just really, really offensive to all of that mahi that was being done by our volunteers and getting out there and helping our people to make their submissions and helping them to have their say on this bill. Yeah, sure. So we're right in the crunch period now because we know that most people leave it till the last minute because it's just human nature, right? You put it off and put it off. Oh, yeah, I'll get to it. So we always knew that this last week would be, the critical week. So what we're actually doing now is we've got a whole group of people in our regulatory standards bill trainers group who are standing by, ready and waiting to make submissions on behalf of anyone that hasn't already made a submission. All you need to do is send us your full name and an email address that you want the reply to go to, and they'll do your submission in opposition for you. I'm getting, multiple through all day, every day, and I just send them to our trainers. They do it, boom, it's done. And because they're so experienced at navigating the form, they can do it, super quick. So you don't even have to do that anymore. All you got to do is send your full name, give us permission to do it, and we got you. Yeah, it is. And we've also been having workshops with our kaumātua and kuia to sort of sit down with them, kanohi ki te kanohi, to help them to understand how this affects them, because they are one of the vulnerable groups that will be at most risk if this bill is passed, in terms of the support for their hauora that is already under threat, but will be under much greater threat if this bill is passed. And so we're very conscious that this affects, you know, our entire hapori right across the board. And so for us, it's important to, yes, we can give them the online tools. Yes, we can help people to make submissions, but we've been very active in getting out there, kanohi ki te kanohi, so that we can sit down and have conversations with people face to face. And I did 16 submission workshops in real life before I left Aotearoa, because I knew I wasn't going to be there for the last week, so I had to put the mahi in before I left. Kia hau nei, ko tētahi mea tino pai I puta ake I tēnei mea kino, ko te hikaka o ngā rangatahi, me ngā kōrero I puta mai I ngā kura kaupapa. So I visited quite a few schools, and kura in particular, as part of the Treaty Principles Bill process and as part of this process. And my son has been in kura his whole life. So this generation is different than our generation, because they have been raised with their reo, they have been raised with their tikanga, and we were fortunate. I think we were right on the cusp of the first gen of that education system, and we were in the bilingual experimental phase, I suppose you might call it. But what I see when I go out and speak to these kura is these kids know what a bill is. These kids know what te tiriti is. They know what their rights are under te tiriti. And so my conversations with them are so different than my conversations even with the adults that I go and see, because I just explain to them, you know, this is going to affect your rights under te tiriti, and they're immediately on board and, you know, asking, okay, whaia, what do we do? How do we participate? And that's a totally different political generation that is coming through in my son's generation and in the reanga just above him that are at high school now as well. So for me, yes, absolutely, I love it. I love to see our rangatahi speaking about political matters, because one of the, I suppose, the key issues with Te Iwi Māori up until this point is that we've always been political, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
We are used as a political football by all of the major parties, yet we have yet to realise our political power. And part of this process for me and the Treaty Principles Bill process is to give us the tools to understand how much political power we have if we work together, and give people tools to exercise that. Well, that is a very good question. And it's one that has been sort of lingering around since we moved to MMP. And it was one of the sort of warnings that, you know, people who were making comments about MMP at the time said that, you know, you'll have this situation potentially where you have a minor party and you have the tail wagging the dog, essentially, you know, a minor party controlling what the government does, which is absolutely what we are seeing now in terms of the ACT Party with its very far right leaning policies, dragging the National Party, you know, towards the right. And it's even more exacerbated in the current political climate because we have a weak leadership in the National Party. And I'm just going to come out and, you know, say that Christopher Luxon is allowing David Seymour to run this country. And, you know, Jim Bolger himself came out and said that he should tell David Seymour to shut up. So, I mean, if that's not enough of an indication that National has really lost its way in terms of the way that that party used to be, you know, they obviously they were always, you know, from centre right in terms of where they stood on the political spectrum, but they have been dragged so far towards the right because of the way that the ACT Party has negotiated this coalition deal, and because of the way that David Seymour is very, you know, unashamedly pushing these racist policies, pushing this racist platform, and they're allowing him to do it because it suits their needs. So for me, how do we get out of this cycle? Well, that's an easy one. We do the same thing. And we have the ability to do the same thing if Māori, Te Iwi Māori, and everyone who is sick of this merry-go-round and sick of these racist policies being put before the government and all of these ugly submission processes that we have to waste our time and energy on, we must, in the next government, the next round, if we are able to achieve a left coalition government, we must demand constitutional change. It is the only way that we will protect te tiriti, protect everyone's rights from this happening again, because they will come back again. The next time there is a swing back to the right and we get another coalition, it will come back and it will be worse. There's actually been some very interesting comments made by both Winston and Shane Jones about this bill, but they have been not getting the sort of media attention that they deserve. So I do want to talk about that actually. So the day after our tribunal hearing, a story came out with quoting Winston Peters saying that there would have to be substantial changes to this piece of legislation before New Zealand First would support it, even though they already signed up in their coalition deal to support this bill. So that was the first indication, which was immediately the day following our tribunal hearing, which means it was sitting on that reporter's desk before. So that was timed, and it was very deliberate that that came out the day after our hearing. Then again, just 2 weeks ago, Shane Jones, and this was all in te reo, which is why it hasn't sort of gotten the media attention that it probably deserves. So he gave an interview to Wātea, I roto i te reo Māori, and he spoke about going even further than that, saying that they will wait to see what comes out of the submissions process before they decide if they will support this bill. And he likened it to an octopus and said, you know, this bill is like an octopus with its 8 tentacles, you know, reaching out into different parts of the government that we don't really know how far that is. And so we've got concerns about that. But, you know, because it was I roto i te reo Māori, you know, not a lot of people heard that and not a lot of people saw it. And so it hasn't got the sort of mainstream media traction that it might have otherwise got. But that's why I keep telling everyone in every interview I've had, they are very strategically walking away step by step from this bill. And I know you're laughing because you're a political commentator, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. They do not do anything by accident. Winston doesn't do anything by accident, neither does Shane Jones. So the fact that they are starting to make those very clear comments about this and casting doubt on their support for this bill is the reason why I'm saying to all of our people, get your submissions in, because if New Zealand First are going to crack this coalition open, it will be on this bill. This bill is absolutely you know, against everything that that party once stood for and how that party was formed. So a lot of people don't understand that. They don't know the whakapapa of New Zealand First. They don't know that, you know, Winston got kicked out of the National Party for rejecting, you know, these liberalist ideals. And he's long been one of the strongest advocates against foreign corporate control of Aotearoa, which is what the Regulatory Standards Bill will absolutely enable. So for me, I'm watching this with my popcorn. Literally, I am waiting to see what's Winnie gonna do and what is Shane gonna do. And, you know, there's a very sort of poetic irony around, you know, Winston having taken the first shift as Deputy Prime Minister. He's now finished his term, and we are now, you know, past the halfway mark, heading into what is the next election going to look like and when is the next election going to be, which is the biggest partai at the moment. And we've been very open in telling people if there is any bill that could potentially cause a snap election, it's this one.